Hey everyone, it's Jeannie here today. I'm glad to be joined by Emmy-nominated actress Cynthia Geary. She is starring as Charlie Copeland in the new original series Going Home, streaming on Pure Flix. And I've already started to dive in and watch the series, and I'm already loving it. Love the message, especially in these times. Cynthia, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Jeannie.
So I want to talk about the series, the importance of how, we don't normally, I think before the pandemic, this probably wasn't as in the forefront of many people's minds, but just how quickly things can change and how minute you're here and the next minute you're gone. And sometimes we overlook that, depending on your age or how busy you are. But I think everyone got touched with that reality during the pandemic. And your series, what it shows is just, that moment, the transition, how, it is to walk from living in this life to going home. So
Right.
how was it for you taking on that role or even wanting to take on a role for something like this?
Well, I'll start with this. I had no experience with hospice. I am really fortunate, knocking on wood. My both of my parents are in their 90s and they're doing fantastic. In fact, my mom just texted me because she's has friends over to watch the show tonight.
Oh.
And but so I read the script, the producer sent it to me, and I thought it was wonderful. It was so well written, and I loved the story. I read several scripts when they offered this the role of Charlie Copeland to me, and I just love the way that Dan approached it. Dan Merchant is the show creator, and I was given the opportunity to go to the Spokane Hospice in Spokane, Washington, that he based the show on, and meet the nurses and that several of the nurses that work there. And I got to sit down and talk with them and ask them questions. And I have to say, it really opened my eyes. The hospice experience is such a gift to the families. I mean, the nurses there, it's a calling, and they really see their role as helping people to make a peaceful transition, and they want to make it as calm and beautiful, and they want as possible, and they want the family members to have closure. And
Wow.
it changed my whole outlook on death, because it is a part of life and something that all of us are going to experience, and we're going to experience it over and over again with our loved ones. And their attitude about it is this is an opportunity to really have important, meaningful conversations with loved ones, and again, resolve issues, and just have these wonderful last moments with your loved one before they go on to the next thing. And I love that message, and I just think, it's death isn't something to be feared.
Wow. Whoa, that's powerful. It's interesting because I think when we think about hospice and we're not, directly connected to it, we just think, okay, you send people to a facility and the nurses there are just going to make you comfortable, but they're not going to, get involved in your life or try to encourage you. I think what you're saying is just so powerful. And that's what we are going to see in the show as well. Just how these nurses feel called. It's like a ministry, honestly,
Oh, it
right
is.
before. Yeah.
I think, I mean, they're up there with nuns. It is really a calling. I absolutely, and they're really adept at gleaning what people need. I mean, some people need closure, and they need the nurses get involved and get them talking, or, you know, other people just need a peaceful, calm place and someone to handle the work of dealing with someone who is
Yeah.
terminally ill, and you know, all the things that includes is medication and turning people who are bedridden and all those kind of things that are really hard for family members to do 24 hours a day. I mean, they provide this service so that the family members can just focus on that special time with their loved one.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And, you know, I think all of our appreciation grew for those in the medical field during the pandemic, but
Oh,
just
yeah.
showing that on screen the way I know the series does. And you did a great job, even in your role. I like how it's starting. You know, we're getting to know you and your character who's, you know, not as open yourself. And I thought that's interesting. I can't wait to see where we go.
Well, it was such an interesting and complex and full role. I told Dan, our show creator, when he sent me the scripts, I'm like, this is my favorite kind of character because it's real and it's messy. I mean, she doesn't, not everything in her life is perfect. I mean, she is called to be a hospice nurse, and that's where she shines. And that's when she's in the room with her, she calls them clients and patients, you know, she is 100% focused on giving them what they need. But her outside life, there's, you know, the issues, and everything gets revealed in each episode. You've got to keep watching. The pilot episode, Charlie is really closed off, and you'll kind of be like, why is she treating her long lost best friend the way she does when she comes to hospice? And there is a backstory there, and there are reasons, but I think that I love that because it's real life. And, you know, no one is perfect, and no one's happy all the time. And we all have stuff that we could do better in our lives, and relationships that we could handle differently and better. And so I think that Dan did a wonderful job creating full, you know, believable, real people.
I love that too, because it shows that even when you're called to something and you shine in something, you still have your own stuff to go through. And
that's what I really, really love about this. And it's one thing that I thought was so informative and interesting when I'm sorry. Do you hear stuff? That's my dog, whose name is Charlie.
Doggy.
Come here.
I love dogs.
Actually, like whining in the background, but I have a golden
He's like, I want to be on camera, Mom.
Yeah, I have, here, I'll just, okay, really quickly. Charlie, here you are. Here's Charlie. Hi, Joe.
Oh, Charlie's a big baby.
Oh yeah, this is my baby. Okay. Anyway, so that's the noise and the distraction.
That's fine.
I'm at my house. Where was I? The nurses are real people. When I met the hospice nurses, I mean, they're funny, they're irreverent, I just thought Dan did a great job of capturing the fact that they're all different. I mean, super different personalities, different backgrounds. But when they're with their clients, they have a calling, and they're so present.
Yeah. Can you talk to the importance of faith and how this series is going to help people even consider the afterlife?
Well, I think again, it's just so beautifully handled. I don't think this is the kind of show that hits you over the head in any way. It's not preachy at all. It's just, you know, people that are living their lives. And I love the message that they're, you know, that this is a transition to what's next. And I think different people will glean different things from that, you know, whatever their faith and their belief is. But I I mean, my favorite moments in the show are I talk to God in a monologue at the end of every episode. And I love again, Dan just made it's a conversation with my best friend. And we're just kind of running through what happened in my day, and it's super casual. And as far as, it's not this formal thing. I'm just talking to my friend, and I have frustrations, and I'm thankful and grateful. And I love that. That was like one of my favorite parts of my role as Charlie.
You said something really awesome in the beginning. You said this show kind of helped you, not fear death. Can you kind of unpack that a little bit?
Boy, that's a lot to unpack. That's a big subject. It did. It really did. And like I said, my parents are in their 90s. So I know that this is something I'm going to face in the near future. But I really see it now as this is something that we know is going to happen, and we're all going to go through it, and we're going to go through it with a lot, our loved ones over and over again. And I do hope that now I can take that, what I've gleaned from the show, and learned that this is really an opportunity to have closure and just to spend quality time and help them have a beautiful, peaceful transition to the next life.
Yeah, I love that. That's wonderful. Cynthia, I know that you took a break for some time from acting to raise your family. How is it coming back into it after that? I mean, I think just even as I was reading that about you, I just had to send myself, and I'm cutting back on some things because I understand wholeheartedly that decision. But I just think about the importance of life. And when you look back on life, right, when you're on your deathbed, I know you'll never regret that you took time out to meet with your family, to be with your family. So I just wanted you to kind of share to that.
Oh, well, I mean, I am the luckiest woman in the world. My parents were, they put their children first always. And I grew up, my mom made a hot breakfast with there's 4 children. I was the youngest of 4. We sat down to breakfast every morning before school. They read devotional. And this is like, my brothers and sisters were in high school and had lots of stuff going on, but every morning we sat down to breakfast. We had dinners together every night. We all gathered with my cousins. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, for lunch at my grandmother's every Sunday. And so it was the importance of family was instilled in me from birth. I'm still really close to all of my family, and we now have extended family that spans generations of children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, and we gather, on holidays. I mean, I'm on the West Coast, and most of them are still in the South, but I go back there with my children, and I'm just so grateful for that, because it just showed me the importance of spending time with your children and sitting down and talking to them and having meals together. And it was never a question to me that I wanted to be really actively involved in my children's lives. And I spent a lot of time in their elementary school. I volunteered with the PTA and volunteered in their classrooms. And, I was a permanent fixture in their schools and their lives. I loved having the opportunity and being able to do that. It was, I feel so fortunate that I could do that. And I know their friends and their friends' parents, and it's made a difference.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's 100%. I'm sure of it. I know it. People they need people to be there. And what a great example. Was there like a theme? Okay.
Looking on the other side, my oldest is 22 and I have a 16-year-old and a 22-year-old. And I'll say, you know, since you have a young child, it goes so fast. I mean, you know, when people say, oh, you put your career on hold, yes. But I mean, it feels like a blink of,
Wow.
you know, I mean, she was a baby and now all of a sudden she's graduated college.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, everyone's telling me that. So I'm really being intentional about appreciating these moments. Was there a theme in just your research with working in the hospice care and all that? Was there kind of a common theme that maybe most people they arrive to at the end of their life?
Um, boy, I think everyone's journey is different. I mean, you'll see in this series, each story is unique and different, and they all come from Dan's personal experience, true stories, and stories that the hospice nurses told him. But I think he did a really nice job of putting together stories that all were very different people who had different experiences. But I would say the one thing about the very end was, you know, there was some there was closure, some, you know, I don't want to give too much away, but I think in the end, everyone found some kind of peace.
That's beautiful. Cynthia, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to add for the faith audience, particularly about the series?
I just hope that you'll all watch and enjoy it. And it can be a heavy subject, but I think, you know, given it's very encouraging and positive, and especially for the faith audience who know that there's something after death.
Yeah. Well, we're grateful for you and glad to have you back on the screen. And you were wonderful in the series. And we're just looking forward to everything else that you have coming.
Thanks so much, Jeannie. Have a great day.